Hey everyone, hey, thanks for watching this video today. I'm just gonna give you a quick spoiler alert. This is gonna be a little bit of a longer video today, but I wanna talk about something really critical here, unpack some data. I wanna talk about the state of the market. And what I mean by that is, where are we heading with long-term interest rates? Where are we heading with home values? What does this look like? Where's the economy moving? I've got a few comments on each of those different things that I've mentioned. But I first want to start by talking about one of the central figures on stage right now for this whole economic discussion, and that is the Federal Reserve. And the Federal Reserve, it's important to understand, they don't directly control long-term interest rates. And what I mean by that are mortgage interest rates, long-term 30-year fixed mortgage interest rates. They control the federal funds rate, which is short-term interest rates. So cost of borrowing on, for credit cards. I mean, basically, they're telling the banks this is what the money should be lent at, and the banks will bump up their rates in lockstep with the Federal Reserve. So we'll see auto loans go up when the Fed raises rates. We'll see credit card rates go up when the Fed raises rates. And so all of these things factor in, and by extension, we'll also see costs of other things rise. If it costs more for corporations to borrow money, you can be assured that that cost is going to be passed along to you as the consumer. So when rates are high and borrowing costs are high, everything becomes more expensive. Now, the Federal Reserve's goal in raising rates isn't just to inflict pain and punishment upon us as consumers. Their goal is, yes, we may feel differently at times, but that's not really their goal. What their goal is, they've got three main things that they're trying to accomplish. They want to maximize employment, they want stability in prices, and they want moderate long-term interest rates. And the interplay between those three things is a very tricky dance to perform. My views on the Federal Reserve right now is that they've probably gone too far with their increases in interest rates. And the only analogy that I could probably give you is it's like driving down a highway at 60 miles an hour and there's a brick wall in front of you. You're going to start to slow down a little bit as that brick wall approaches. It seems like for the Federal Reserve, they're going to fly down the road, and once they hit the brick wall, then they're going to look at kind of pumping the brakes. And the reason why I think that analogy works well is because the impact of what the Federal Reserve does today is felt 12 months from now, or what they did 6 months ago is going to be felt a year from that adjustment. And so we're not seeing the full impact of what they've done, but we will. And I think it will lead us into a recession. And when I say a recession, I don't want you to think Great Recession like back in 2008, 9, 10, 11. That was different economic circumstances. Today, we've just been in an overheated economy, and it's due for a contraction. That is typical for any kind of economic life cycle. And so this contraction, it may slow down some jobs, it may create a little more unemployment, but it's going to slow down spending. And that's really been the tool, the weapon that the Federal Reserve has been using against inflation. They hate inflation. And so they're fighting it by raising interest rates to curb spending. And as that spending comes down, then naturally we go into a recession. And as inflation comes down, long-term interest rates come down. So my forecast is you're going to see long-term interest rates come down in 2024. I think it will happen by the second quarter of 2024. Now you may say, well, I want to get into a home then because rates are going to be better. And I would say you may want to modify that strategy, because when rates were low back in 2 or 3 years ago, and let's say rates were at 2.75%, there were many buyers trying to purchase a home. And there was so much competition for a home. These homes may have gotten 5, 10, even 20, 30 offers on a home. And it created an environment where the buyer was making some pretty outrageous concessions. $80,000 over asking price, no inspection, required, no appraisal, dispute, or gap. I mean, these are huge risks that could have been taken and very tempting to take because the market was so competitive. Fast forward to now, you have higher interest rates, you have less competition, you have more sellers willing to make concessions, drop price, pay for $10,000, $15,000, maybe even more in concessions. So it's a softer, more balanced market. This is a great thing for you as a buyer, okay? Even if you're selling your property, because the mantra that I've said in the past is marry the home, date the rate. Find the home that you love. That's the home that you're going to be with for a while. The rate, as soon as that more beautiful rate walks through the door, that's who we're going out with. That is who we're going to partner up with, and we'll have that rate until the next beautiful rate walks through the door. So we'll look for those refinance opportunities, but acquire the home now, because when those rates go low, there's going to be more competition. It's going to put more upward pressure on price, and that's going to be the environment that you will be in. And so marry the home, date the rate. Now, I get asked a lot, what about a housing crash? I don't think there's going to be any kind of housing crash in the near future at all. And I think that those that say that don't really understand the data. I have a lot of information here. If I could show you all my charts and technicals, it would back up a lot of this. But here's a simple takeaway on what will probably diffuse the idea of a housing crash. In 2007, so right before the Great Recession, and right before there were houses that went down dramatically in price, there were 4 million homes for sale in the United States. Fast forward to today, there are 1 million homes for sale. So the supply has dropped by 3 million. It's gone down to 25% of what it was back in 2007. And on top of that, there's 34 million more people. So you have 34 million more people fighting for 3 million fewer homes. The supply and demand fundamentals with that, they just don't add up to a housing crash. So we are ways from having the supply that we need, and a lot of the lack of supply stems from builders and developers being so stung by the Great Recession that they didn't want to dip back into buying more land, building more homes until they felt confident that the economy was on better footing. And now it's like it's hurry and catch up and build more homes, and it's difficult to do that in a short period of time. And the costs have gotten more expensive as well because more policies were put in place to prevent what happened in the Great Recession. So these are, hopefully this is critical or at least valuable information for you. And if you're looking at buying a place or considering it, give me a call and let's talk about some of these things. Let's talk about what you may be able to expect in the market for selling your home, and we'd certainly get a real estate agent involved in that conversation. But let's talk about that. Let's talk about buying a home and what you may be able to expect. Let's talk about strategies to take care of the main pain point right now, which is rates are high and my payment's going to be higher. We can ask for a 2-1 buy down. That's just a seller concession where they pay for your rate to be bought down temporarily for the first 2 to 3 years that you own this home. So you may be able to start, if rates today are at 7%, you may be able to start at 5%. Or with a 3-2-1 buy down, you may be able to start at 4% on the rate. Then for 12 months, you have that rate, then you move to 5%, then you move to 6%, then you move to 7% for the duration. Hopefully within that period of time, we'll have had this refinance market, we take advantage, we refi into a longer term fixed rate mortgage and a more comfortable payment for you. There's a number of strategies that we can look at using. So if you're thinking about that, feel free to give me a call, shoot me an email. I'd love to have that conversation with you. As always, I appreciate you taking the time to watch this video, and I hope you have a great day.